I got my Snoop Doggy Dogg pajamas, and life is good. This is a huge reset for me, and I'm just here to encourage you people who maybe you just went through a really hard time in your life. Whether it was you had a problem with an addiction or a woman, you had to serve. Maybe you went to jail for some stupid thing, and I have to tell you this: don't give up. Don't quit. Okay. You can get your own place. You got to get your own place. You got to um get the right help. Pray about it before you make a big decision. Get help from your, advice from the smartest guy you know in your family or a friend. If you really need some help, man, um there are like there's like these sober living homes that some of them are professionals, some of them I would never go touch with a 100-foot pole. But like there are resources. And if you really want to be established, you really got to want it. You know what I'm saying? Like you could go from like I was 3 or 4 days ago stranded. I only had a little bit of cash, to get around. And I was completely stranded. Like I was in this really toxic relationship where I thought I was in love, but it was codependency. And I want to talk about codependency real quick, because that is the problem is codependency itself. Okay, because I'm a chill dude. Like you can tell by looking at me, I don't do drugs, I don't do nothing like that, and I'm chill. But I was literally acting like I was on like my literal reality was not reality because I was codependent on this girl, right? And this idea of like a marriage and all that but it wasn't healthy. That's the problem. It wasn't healthy. You see, you can't be running to poison and expect a different result. Einstein said the definition of insanity is what? Doing the same thing over and over again. So you have to break these patterns. And I'm talking about me too. We have to break these patterns. You know, it's like this. If you really, really, really want to break free, then you have to, and I mean this, you have to give it your all. And you can't look back. You cannot move forward while you're looking back. So that's what I'm talking about. I know because this is a cycle that happens with so many people, especially in relationships and toxic relationships. They break up and they get back together, and then they break up and then they get back together. And one person is suffering more than the other because usually how it works is one of them is more codependent than the other. Like they feel like they can't live without the other one. And the other one is like they get pressured. You know what I mean? It's usually, from what I understand, it's usually the guy gets the pressure put on him to, whatever, take care of this girl, help this girl out. Um, they'll often say, and this is something I picked up on, saying that da da da, I need you is like super codependent. And at the time, I tried to make an excuse for it or like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. We're really in love with each other. So I understand what she means. But no, saying I need such and such person, you could put that with drugs, or you can equivalent that to any addiction. So sometimes, and this might sound, strange. You can be addicted to a person like you're addicted to drugs, or you can be addicted to sex, or you can be addicted to that feeling, or just that, being with somebody that you love, that you feel like you love, but you don't actually love them. And I found out the hard way that looking back at it, going through, all the pictures and everything, I was like, wow, I don't feel the same way about this person anymore. So it must not have been love. Maybe it was lust or it was an addiction. And it's kind of different with relationships or codependency with people, but it can affect you the same way that drugs do. And it's really nuts. Um, Especially when there's mental health involved with someone's, they believe they might have what's called like a toxicity in their mind, diarrhea of the mind. Like they will go off and they will start believing off the wall things. They'll believe anything that you tell them or anything they hear. And that's not stable. What you need is peace. And if anything is destroying your peace or if your mind, you have to cut it off. It's like it's like a drug and you can't look back. What I've done is incredible and I'm going to give myself some flowers because not a lot of people are capable of getting out of such a toxic situation where maybe you lost everything. Maybe you lost, your home, you lost, a lot of money or all of your possessions and something like that, or you lost your sanity and your possessions. Going from that to stability, having having a place, having your stuff, having a room and it's in order and everything's neat. And then you go and you get a job and then you go and you rebuild everything and you don't look back. That is what I'm doing, and I'm doing a great job at it. And if you need encouragement, if you need advice, just send me leave a comment or something and say advice or say encouragement. And I'll get back to you when I'm able to, but I'm still look, I am right now I'm like this close to being perfectly stable again. Within like three days getting out of the situation where I was stranded in a place where I know I didn't belong and it wasn't safe and I didn't know anybody there. But Yahuwah made a way to get me out because He is the way, and He got me back on the path where I'm supposed to be. Supposed to be. I'm back here. I'm near my family. I'm with my family again. We're gonna celebrate. And look, I know there's a lot of people that say these holidays. Yes, I know. These holidays are not holy days. These are pagan holidays, right? But I'm going to celebrate because I'm going to celebrate the triumph. I'm not celebrating a holiday. I'm celebrating triumph of overcoming this challenge that the devil threw in my face to completely take me off the rails and destroy my faith and destroy my trust. And it didn't work because I'm still here and my eyes are still beautiful and enlightened and full of light because I overcame the devil. And there comes a time, especially for a man, when you're in your 20s, your 30s, I don't know, it could be even your 40s, but there's going to come a time when the devil attacks you and you have to be strong and you have to remember who you are. Do not forget. And if you don't know who you are, you better start realizing that you are the temple of the Most High. You are the temple of the Most High, and you cannot destroy yourself. A house divided against itself won't stand. And what do I mean by you cannot destroy yourself? Don't be contrary. Don't be what we call a hypocrite. You can't go one way and look the other way at the same time. You can't run in two directions at once. A house divided against itself cannot stand. So now knowing this, it is your choice. It is your choice. You are able to break free from whatever snare you're in. You are able to bust out of whatever prison mentally or spiritually you're in. You can break free. You can break free. And it's not easy to go from nothing to stability, going from chaos and drama to peace of mind. But it's possible because all things are possible through the one who creates, who created all things. His name, from what I know, I don't know everything, but he revealed himself as Yahuwah, and I will now call him Yahuwah because he is the breath in your lungs. When you take a breath with your lungs, do it. You have just said his name. He has put a stamp on you. You can do this. You can break out of whatever thing is keeping you or holding you back or trying to pull you back. You can break free from it. Just don't look the other way. Focus. Focus on what you need to get done. What do you need to have peace of mind? What will give you peace of mind, and cut off anything, whether it's a person or it's a place you don't feel comfortable. You can get out of that place. You can cut off that person. It is your own choice. If you want to save yourself, because if you cannot choose to save yourself, how can anyone else help you? How could anyone else help you? If you choose to drink that poison, if you choose to stay in that snare and you will not break yourself free, how can anyone help how can you save a drowning person if when the lifeguard comes to save the drowning person, they start swinging and trying to fight the lifeguard? How can you save them from drowning? They won't stay still. You know, it's a dangerous game with these things. And sometimes you just have to let that person fall and just pray for them. And just pray for them that they come to the understanding. And I was that person who did not understand what I was doing, why, or I was not in my right mind, but I was set free because who the Son of Man sets free is free indeed. I am free. I don't need to sit here and cry. I don't need to sit here and complain. I'm done crying with your complaining. I'm done thinking about my past. It is time to focus on the now. Live in the now. Look at also the future. You can look towards the future and plan and then do. Be. You have to be. To be or not to be, that is the question. Will you decide to live in the now, or will you be pulled out of the now, focused on something that is toxic or something that cannot be? Because sometimes we get so caught on this idea of something and we think that is what we're supposed to be doing. And then people will warn you about this person or this place or this thing, and you don't listen to any of the warnings. Like, they might have warned you 50 times and you didn't listen. And that's kind of what happened to me. Like, I was so dead set on this person and on this dream that I had, not knowing that this was the wrong person and it was the wrong time. And that in of itself can be the problem. Not that what I wanted was wrong. What I wanted was not wrong. All my intentions were good. You can have the best intentions and still be a fool. And that is why I will recommend this. There is a book. It is simply just called Wisdom. Literally just Wisdom, or Wisdom of Solomon. Look into it. There's a book called Ecclesiasticus. It's similar to wisdom, but it's very good sound advice on who can you trust, who can you not trust, what you ought to do. There is advice. Now, whether you listen or whether you'll take the time to read, to become wise, that is your choice. I am just going to give you resources. Oh, also, you can break free. I'm just going to keep saying that. You can break free. Whatever your situation is, you think that you're stuck, you're not. But you think that you're stuck, therefore you are. Because as a man thinketh, so he is. Though, if you change, if you repent, which means to change the way you're thinking, then you can be set free. But if you feel hopeless, then you're hopeless. If you really think you're hopeless, you're hopeless. But if you think and then you act on it, if you have knowledge, or if you go and get this knowledge and then you act on that knowledge, you have power. But if you have knowledge without acting on it, you don't have power, because it's not being used. See, the point of this message is that if I can do it, you can do it. If you're like, I understand, like maybe somebody really broke your heart. Maybe somebody, maybe you have a really big problem with an addiction. Like I've been addicted to different things, like video games. I was addicted to my phone. I was addicted to drugs, like, marijuana, not like anything hard. But then this happened, and it was a person, and I'm like, wow, you can get high off of a woman, or a woman can get high off of a man, and then they think they're in love, but then they're just dwindling psychologically because they're not giving each other space. And I'm like, wow, this is really a thing. And this is really like, and you know how people say, oh, it couldn't be me. It couldn't be me, man. We love each other and blah blah blah. But they don't actually see themselves. They're not looking at themselves. They're just looking like at other stuff, or they're so focused on what they're doing, but they don't see what they're doing. You're doing what you're doing, but you can't see yourself because you don't have eyes outside of you. But Yahuwah gave us a mind so that you can actually think and look back on, whoa, I did that. And I've been doing that for a while. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that was not healthy. You should not be suffocating or letting anyone suffocate you to where you can't have your own personal space, okay? But I did that, and it didn't work out because I had no time to, first of all, think for myself, or just, do my own thing, because it was like I became joined to this person because of the idea of marriage. And then that person ruined a good thing, what was supposed to be a good thing, and they made it evil. They made a good thing bad by being codependent. Being codependent can ruin not only relationships, because there's codependent people that are codependent on video games or drugs or music, or it could be literally anything, because they get what? Dopamine. Dopamine is the drug of choice. Dopamine is the drug of choice. Dopamine. Can you cut yourself off from dopamine? There are some ways that you can kind of detox from having too much dopamine. One way is fasting. One way is trying. It's still November. No fap is really good. It's a good way to cut it off. There's a few ways to cut off the dopamine stuff, or to balance it, to balance whatever your high is, whether it could be sugar. A lot of us, you should know this, we shouldn't be eating more than like maybe 20 grams of sugar, you know? But we're going and we're eating all this bread and this sugar, and like it literally can make you high to get sugar, and then you want more sugar. And then before you know it, you ate or drank 100, 200 grams of sugar that day, and you're literally killing yourself. And dopamine is the drug of choice because that's the feeling. That's what you're actually addicted to. It's dopamine. And that's what I realized. It was this girl gave me so much dopamine, this woman, because she was beautiful, and I was like blind, literally blind, and just, yes, honey, let's do this. New phone. Here's a new iPhone. Like here's some jewelry. Like, you know what I'm saying? But the problem was it didn't just affect me financially. If it's affecting you here in your peace, your mind, it's affecting your like or your ability to make good choices. Yeah, you might want to back off, you know. You might want to turn around because one bad choice can lead to another bad choice and lead to another bad choice. And before you know it, you're in jail, or before you know it, you're stranded in the middle of nowhere. And then you have to make a bunch of what? Good choices and deliberately wise choices because these people are parasites where they'll try and drain your energy, not just your energy, not just your energy, but your money or your sanity, you know? Protect your peace, protect your energy, protect yourself. I don't care how beautiful she is or how, you know, sometimes she's sweet and or the sex is good. Look, if it's costing you your peace or your energy, you're just feeling drained or you don't have your own personal space. No, bro. Listen. No. If they can't give you that space, that's a huge red flag. If you can't be like, "Hey, I kind of need a day to myself," and they don't respect that, nah. Talk to the hand because we have needs, all of us, we have needs. And then like when the weakness of my weakness was what? Loneliness. So like when I was like, yo, I have this person, this is my person right now, you know, and I'm gonna just like be with her all the time forever. It sounded good on paper, but in practice, hell no. You want to have your own peace. But I was like drunk or high off of this person, and they gonna get enough of me, I gonna get enough of them. And then we started going loopy. We started getting loopy. And then we got forcibly split up thanks to Yahuwah. He split us up forcibly because it wasn't healthy. And then I came down from my high of dopamine. And then I said, wait, this is not right. I should have known better. I would have never made these mistakes by myself, even though I made all these choices. I said, wow, if if I was me in my right mind and I made these choices for myself, I would have never ended up here. But since I was trying to please someone else or help rescue someone else, a damsel in distress, if you will, like everybody, um, especially men, they want to be like that hero guy, or you want to give her the world, or you want to just like, you know what I mean? Like you want to just be him, be that dude, that solid dude that's your like, but there are some people you can't save. There are some people you can't save. And that's so true. There are some people that, because we have free will, and I'm going to get a little, not like religious, but like spiritual. The Most High gave us free will, and we decide what we want to do. Your choices are your choices. And we'll have the answer for every choice we've ever made, which is kind of scary, honestly. That like that's why I kind of try to talk about what should I do now is one of my biggest when I get into prayer is like what's the next move? And then I'm not just gonna pray and then stop there. I'll also call people that I can get wisdom from, get advice from. Not that I trust any, again, men or women or men. I don't trust them, but I trust in the one who made us. And I go to him first, and then I'll go to, whoever I should go to for advice. Because here's the thing that happens in mental health is when people spiral, they lose trust in their circle, whether it's family or friends. When there is another person that's like trying to get all your attention and your time, they'll try to make you split up with your family or friends and cut them off from or cut you off from them because they want all of your energy and your energy is just funneling to them, and then it can cause you to spiral because you don't have any. It's like you're on an island. Like that guy, there's a guy left a comment on the last one. He's like, yeah, I was like feeling like I was on an island with this girl, and like I was gonna be stuck forever. And I'm like, yeah, run. But I didn't know better because it was like my first super serious type of relationship. And then I got advice from people like, hey, this isn't good. And I'm like, but it feels good. It's great. Like I was so high or drunk on it. And I'm just so glad to be sober again. Like literally. But in a way that's like a peace way, like just peace of mind. I don't have to worry about that other person's well-being. It's not my problem. And it really never was. But I guess I took them on, I took them in, rescued them for a while. And then I got abused for it. But at the end of the day, I don't necessarily regret anything because it taught me a valuable lesson. And then the way I'm bouncing back is literally like a miracle. Like I'm actually doing miracles right now because of I was stranded. No phone. I couldn't make calls. Like I didn't have any phone network, right? Because I was, got in trouble. Um, she got like that's what happens because you lose your wits when these people get into your head. It's like the word says, don't give power over your soul to another. Especially, it actually specifically says to a woman, because this is advice towards a son, right? Don't give it power over your soul to a woman. That doesn't mean you're giving them your soul. It's don't give power over your soul, which you are a living soul. So basically, don't give power over your life. Maybe we should change that wording. Don't give power over your life to another. Because what will happen is they will abuse and oppress you. And if I can't have my own space, that's no bueno. So yeah. Um, what else? Yeah, bouncing back. This is about bouncing back, right? Um, one thing I've always been is resilient. One thing I've always been is resilient. But I did hit a huge breaking point this earlier this year where I was broken, like so broke, like mentally, my mind was literally divided. I couldn't say any other way, any better way, divided against itself because I was like, you ever heard about the people that are like schizophrenic and that hear voices and stuff? That can happen to people in multiple ways. Sometimes it's temporary. Thank God it was temporary. Like, but there are times when the mind is so sick that like the voice, like you hear voices and stuff, and that happens to people when they're what, on drugs, like, right, or they're PTSD. Actually, PTSD can do that to you. Trauma can do that to you. And I think it was a combination of a lot of things. It just made me so sick that I could not function. So yeah, I'm glad to be back. I'm so back too. I'm killing it. If you if you've been through a situation where like you have to completely start over and then you hit the ground running, don't stop running. Because like I want to see where I'm at in a month. I better have I better have like everything together. I better have everything together. This room's gonna be nice. This room's gonna have like I'm gonna be showing. I might just show it off if it's nice enough. I'll have like, yeah, this is my, this is my space. This is my space. I got the space, and now I gotta make it my space. You know what I mean? It was hard because I was literally stranded. Didn't know where I was gonna move to, like where I was gonna stay. Um, I didn't know where I was really because I don't know nothing about the area. And then I had to figure out, okay, I gotta go 7, 8 hours from where I'm at to get where I need to be by my family again. And within like 2 or 3 days, I'm already in a place. I'm in a place, and I got a place for a month until I gotta pay for the next month. And you can do it too. What I'm saying is, you can do it too. If I did it, you can do it. I went from loopy and completely like didn't know what I was doing because I was hooked on this dopamine, this codependency. I was literally like on the channel it says what is it called? I was literally not on the earth, like, cuz I was not living in reality. I was blind, but now I see. And you can do it too. You can sober up and you can get your life together too. You can do it too. It's your choice. What I'm saying is it's your choice. But I have the that is my testimony. Is I went from, look, I wasn't on drugs, but love. Some people say like relationship can be a drug, and it sure can. And the problem is people don't know when to quit. They don't know when to quit. You know what I mean? I was actually forced to quit. God forced it to quit. It forced it to be over. And I'm actually glad for it because this could have devolved into, well, having children, and then having obligation to have to be with that person forever because you made that choice to combine, and then they have a child, and then what are you gonna do? You're not gonna just abandon that. But like miracle after miracle after I am miracle. I'm like the miracle. I am the like a miracle man, bro. Going and just making it happen. And it's not me, it's the one who sent me to show miracles. Yes, I have a lot of faith, but when I'm asked where are my works, I want to have a lot of works to show for it, that faith. There will be people who say, you know, they'll say, well, that I don't believe in that. Or, okay, well, then I'll show you my works. How about that? You don't believe there's a creator who created you? Okay. I'll give you the proof. I'll just be that proof. How about that? I'll be that proof in my life. I'm living proof. This is my testimony to you. If you feel like you can't make it from nothing to something, well, I made it. I did it. Didn't have a place, didn't have any money, hardly. Uh, Stranded, uh, heartbroken. I was out of my mind. You know what I mean? And here I am. I'm good. Everything is taken care of. So yeah, you can do it too. I'm proud of me. Make yourself proud. Do something for yourself. Get out of whatever problem, any problem situation you can get out of it. But you have to think it. Like there's a book, Think and Grow Rich. You can think yourself to get rich. You can think yourself to get successful because but you have to act on it. There's a method to madness, and there's a method to the gladness. So yeah, that's all I got to say. I've been preaching long enough. I just wanted to share it because this is a big night for me. This is a big day for me. This is where it's time. I'm locked in. I'm like, okay, next, this thing is next. That thing, okay, then this. Okay, I need to get this and that. Kingdom focused. Are you kingdom focused? I don't care if look, Christian or not. Are you kingdom focused right now? Are you building a kingdom? Or are you tearing it down? Are you a house divided against yourself? Are you a house being built up? And sometimes a kingdom has to fall so a greater kingdom can be built. And I think that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what this is. The kingdom had to be torn down so a greater kingdom could be built. See, I always had that foundation, but I think my foundation was fundamentally flawed because I there were things I thought I knew for sure that were not true. I was what do I say? How do I say it? I wasn't truly enlightened. I was like partially there, but not all the way there, you know? But you know what? I got some things, important things figured out, and that makes me really happy because I know I'm not in that doubt anymore. Like I was in that phase of like not thinking God was real or not being sure that Yahweh was real. Now I know. And then I went into a phase of like super zealous. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I became like a Pharisee. I'd say I was a Pharisee. I was a Pharisee. I was like super team Jesus guy, and that I was like not not helping. You know what I mean? Like if you wanted to convince people of the truth, you have to live a life that makes sense. Because if you're of the truth, but you're living a lie, you're divided against yourself. And that's one thing I realized is, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to really do this. I'm going to commit myself to greatness, to building this kingdom and praying. When I pray, Father, your kingdom come, your will be done. And if he says I'm a king, which he does, he told me I'm a king, and I need to. What does the king do? He builds the kingdom, and I dedicate it to him. And I say, well, this kingdom, he helped me build this kingdom, but his kingdom that he is building and built, and he's always doing something, is greater, much greater. But yeah, my story is a mixture of a lot of things. I feel like kind of Paul, kind of Job, there's kind of like David. There's a little of everything in my story, and I think that is so awesome. There's a little bit of everything in my story. And that is quite beautiful, to say the least. That like I wanted to be like this Bible guy, this guy that was like written, and I know I'm written in the book of life, but like I wanted to be like a Bible hero, and I kind of got to live out that. And it's not a fantasy. I was gonna say live out that, but it's not a fantasy. It was reality that I got to witness miracles like what Christ did, and people can say whatever they want about that phase in my life, and I'll tell them, who are you to judge? Who are you to say? Who are you to say that those things were not real? I'm a witness. These two eyes have witnessed miracles. These this voice has spoken them into existence. And this is not of me, but the one who sent me. And I am doing more and more miracles as I get back to the peace and the place where He has ordained me to be. It's beautiful. I could go on and on. It's so beautiful. The story is so beautiful. From tragedy to triumph in so quick, in such a quick turnaround. And I refuse to look back. If I do look back, I will look back on the signs and the wonders that I got to see and leave it at that. And I have no need of the negativity. But I do reminisce sometimes, and I say, wow, that happened. That was real, and that was awesome. And if somebody wants to tell me, like, I don't even want to argue. I'm not going to, because it's indisputable. What I have witnessed and the things that I experienced are real, and no one can tell me they're not. My problem or my issue was wanting to tell the world this, or tell someone like, in my immediate family, well, this happened and I can't explain it. And then they're just going to try to explain it without God involved. And I'm like, yeah, so there's no point. But I have testimony after testimony after testimony of miracle, 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 the word of Yahuwah coming to life. And then like showing people on in a video, and then a live stream, and it's happening, and there's a miracle happening. Like Yahusha is literally on the world, doing these miracles and showing people, and they will just deny, 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 deny it, deny it. No, you're wrong. This is not glorifying Him. I'm like, are you crazy? Do you not know that? Do you not know Revelation? Or not? Sorry, Revelation is the last book. Genesis. In Genesis, the Ruach of Yahuwah was moving upon the waters. The Ruach of Yahuwah was moving upon the waters. His power, I don't want to say spirit, because why should I spirit? They put a spear through Yahusha already. Ruach, because he's alive. Breath and power, his might, was moving upon the waters. And then I called, and I called on him, and I said, I was led by the Ruach HaKodesh. Yahuwah, please put your water, put your Ruach upon this water. Make this water Kodesh, this water. Make this water Kodesh, like truly, not the holy water you buy in the Catholic store. No, 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 no. Kodesh the water, for real. Not to be bought or to be sold, just make the water, truly make it holy. That's what I was at. That's where I was at. I was like, no, this is not a product to buy or sell, but I want to ask this genuinely, in faith, like, please, can you make the water holy so it heals me? And he did. And he did. It's that simple. And then people thought it was kind of silly or crazy because I showed them. And they're like, you're out of your mind, and this is not real, and this is okay, doubting Thomas. But if you actually drank this water, you know what this water would do to you? Eternal life. Those who drink the water of life, they will have life and life abundantly. The bread of life is the word of Yahuwah. And his Ruach, he'll pour it out. He gives it freely to those who ask. Who are we to deny his work? The wind, we do not see where the wind is blowing. We only feel it. We do not see where the wind is blowing, but we know it exists and we feel it. And that's how I feel about Yahuwah, is he does his work. The spirit realm or whatever, you can't see it, but it's there. And I know it's there. And no one can tell me it's not, because I'm not an idiot. I know because I have eyes to see, and it's not these eyes. It is, some call it a sixth sense. Or they'll say, oh, you're just sensitive to. I'm like, okay, but sensitive to what? Oh, right. That there is a unseen. There is seen and then there's unseen. There's feelings, right? We all have what? Feelings. If somebody tells you I'm in pain, you'll probably believe them, right? But you can't see their pain, and you can't even feel their pain unless you're like a really strong empath, which I am. So let's not be ignorant, okay? Let's not be ignorant. Let's not try to explain things with our own understanding. I read it in a book. A science book. It must be true. Listen, those science books don't even acknowledge the creator, much less to give him credit for anything. No. First of all, he created the fish and the water and everything, and he knows more than we could ever know in this life. Until we can become, I really want to be in his kingdom. I never think about it. Like everyone's like, I want to go to heaven. I want to go to heaven. I don't want to go to hell. Okay, that's very basic and surface level, and honestly, I get it. But don't you want to be part of his kingdom? And don't you want to help bring his kingdom to the earth? Ah, and I tell you this, the kingdom of heaven is in your midst. And it was in my midst. I was a part, and I still am a part of the kingdom. I truly am. And I know I am. He wrote my name. He wrote my name in the book of life. He wrote my name in the book of life. And I know that. And I think everyone should want their name written in the book of life, right? Do you want to be a part of his kingdom? Do you want to be a part of the eternal kingdom? Because people don't think about that. They're just like, I don't want to go to hell. And then, okay, but like, do you actually want to be a part of his kingdom and focus on buildings, helping him, doing whatever? I know people say you can't help God. Well, that's tough. Like I know he doesn't look. I know he doesn't need. He doesn't like. He can do anything, right? I get that, but I have been called to do something. That's the truth. I was called to do something. Now, it's my choice if I want to do that thing or go do something else. But I would rather do what I was intended to do. What I was created with intention to do is the thing I exactly want to do. Because I know that Yahuwah will reward me for doing the right thing. People talk about how there's like karma, right? If you do bad things, then bad things happen to you. And you know what? Yeah, that's true, but it's not karma. It's actually just the word of Yahuwah coming to life. It's that simple. Sometimes it's really that simple. Like we want to complicate and have our own reason for anything, but like, do you really, you know, have you actually, here's a question I asked, have you been to space? And if you haven't been to space, you believe in space, right? That takes some faith. Hmm. But what if space it doesn't exist? And how could you say that? I saw it on TV. I saw it on my phone. I saw this and that, and they send rockets to space, and I'm like, okay, look, I'm not saying there's obviously stars and there's obviously things in the sky. What I'm saying is I don't believe in the vacuum of space. I believe that there's a firmament. I know there's a firmament above us. And you know how I know that? Because I know that Yahuwah and his word is true. And his word says that he created the firmament and the earth shall not be moved. So right off the bat, being intellectually honest with yourself, saying, I believe in the one true Elohim, then you believe his words, and then you can't believe NASA too. You have to be honest with yourself. Okay, you're either one or the other. You can't be both. You can't be on playing for two teams. So yeah, I'm a flat earther because the word says it's the circle of the earth. He sitteth upon the circle in the earth, and he looks down at us, and we're like little grasshoppers. And we're little grasshoppers jumping around doing our thing, and he can see us from above. He can see everything we're doing, and it's really cool to think about it that way. But you have to be intellectually honest with yourself. Like that's the advice I'm going to give you. I'm not going to tell you what to believe in, but you can't believe in two things that are contradictory because a house divided against itself cannot stand, yo. And that's for real. So like if you want to do the Christian thing, do the Christian thing, but do it. Like that was my problem was like I would believe things that are contrary. And that was what made me sick because it's dis-ease. How could you be at ease if you're being spread two different directions? Like I was talking about with the toxic relationships thing, because how can you take care of yourself when you have to focus on this person that's so freaking needy all the time? You know what I mean? Yo, all I'm saying is we can know there's a creator just simply the fact that we are a creation. Like if I show you a timepiece, I show you a Rolex, or I show you these Snoop Dogg freaking clothes, right? These are really tight by the way. These Snoop Dogg pajamas. If you should know they were what? Somebody had to make them. But when we look at a human being or a tree or like an animal, that thing is actually alive. That thing is alive, and it's way more complicated than, a simple piece of clothing. And you're like, you really think that wasn't designed by literally the smartest intelligence ever to like create this thing that it moves and it breathes and it functions, it's beautiful. Like, come on, bro. So that's an obvious thing. And then it's like trying to figure out, okay, but okay, we know there's a creator, but like, yo, what's his name? That was where I was at. I was kind of at that level too. And I was like, well, I automatically went to Jesus. Jesus was like everything was Jesus. Like I was like preaching to people they didn't want to be preached to. I was like, blah blah blah. Yeah, and then I was like, then I realized how um, my dad humbled me, okay? Because he calls the plays like he's like the ref, bro. He's a referee. Like the way he calls it is the way it usually goes. He's like pretty much 100% accurate. He was right about the girl. He was right about something else, and it really offended me. It really offended me because I was like Team Jesus 1,000,000%, and I get it. But there is something he told me about that was like mind blowing. It's the Council of Nicaea, and he mentioned the Council of Nicaea, and I was like, "What is that? What are you talking about?" Then I come to find out the letter J wasn't a thing when Jesus was walking the earth. So what was his name? If there was no Jesus, what was his name? I was like, it was like literally a crisis. I was in a crisis because I was like, okay, what? I was teaching lies, but it was the truth. I thought it was the truth. And like I do believe for a fact there is power because if you believe in the right guy, you just don't know his name. And then I realized I was like, well, his name isn't Jesus, but like I saw miracles and stuff happen, you know? So like, but what is his name? Let me get to the point. It's Yahushua HaMashiach because he was Hebrew, bronze. He had bronze feet. Hebrew. He spoke Hebrew or Aramaic. Um, one of the two. He spoke one of the two. It was either Hebrew or Aramaic. I wasn't there. I would have loved to be there, you know, see all the cool stuff he did. But yeah, yeah, so like that's in of itself though. Yeah, you can use and I'm using both. I'm using both because like how could you relate to these people, these the Christians, like, 'cause there's it's the most popular belief in the world. And I'm like, well, how can I level with them if I'm talking about Yahusha or and they're like, who's that? You know? I'm like, well, you call him Jesus, but it's like I found out that this name, they named a slave ship. Yo, they named a slave ship Jesus. And they took all these black people on the ship and they said and they got took off the ship and they got sold into slavery. And then they said, when are we going to be let free? And they said, when Jesus comes back. I'm not kidding. That's for real. That's for real. And then they don't. We were lied to, bro. We were lied, and that's the point. We were lied to by from the birth. Since you came out of the womb, you've been taught lies. And then I'm trying to get to the truth, but it's just layers and layers and layers of lies. Like, yeah, I found God is real. That's great. And then I found out, Jesus, and I read the Bible a couple times, and then I go into like with just trying to understand everything is really hard because it's a rabbit hole, and there's so many levels to wisdom. You get one place and then you get to another place, and then sometimes the devil attacks you and steals that wisdom from you sometimes. Because like I remember there was something I found about Yahuwah or Yahusha, but I was like, but then I didn't think it mattered at the time. I was like, well, I'm just gonna say Jesus, because that's the name I knew. Until recently there was this thing that happened that I don't want to freak people out, but it was like so weird. It was like the devil was like bragging on it. Like he was so proud of like how he tricked everyone to worshiping him. I'm not kidding. That's literally what happened. I don't want to go into too much detail because it would freak you the hell out. But he was like the devil was so proud of himself. And then he got humbled. He got humbled. I'm glad he did because he needed to be freaking humbled. And he had to bow down. I saw him bowing down to a woman, instead of a dude, because he was already beaten by Mashiach, right? Because yeah, Mashiach beat him on the cross, but it was something just really funny about this image of Satan having to bow to a woman. You know what I mean? It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny to be like, oh, that's the bad guy who like took over the world and he lied and he really had all the power in the world. And like he's bound to a woman right in front of me and we're on the planet Earth and I'm just like, this is funny. This really happened, bro. And it's hilarious because it's literally comedy. It's literally comedy. It's like this is the dude who ruined my life and ruined Job's life and ruined a bunch of people's lives on earth and made them tormented. And he's the reason why there's wars and like everybody's under this mind control shit, like this whatever they call it, MK Ultra. It's all from there's a source from it, there's a source of evil, there's a source of good, and we know Satan is the adversary. It literally means adversary, the op of ops, right? And I see this big bad boss, like the meanest, cruelest, like bro. And there was another, and before we had to fight Satan, right? There's a fallen angel, and I had to have a had to have a conversation with the fallen, bro. I can't make this shit up. And you'll think I'm crazy, but I'm sober minded right now. Like I'm chill. I'm got peace. But I have to tell you this because it's like how can I not tell you this? Okay, look, there was a fallen angel, and it was like it would possess somebody to throw stuff at me to hurt me, right? Like she threw a can opener at me, and like scratch. I got a scratch from it right here. I don't know if you can see that. It's a scratch. It was back in February. But then I had to have a conversation with that same fallen angel, right? And it was like a movie because it's like he's like, "Oh, my boss, he's so cruel. He's so cruel." And he's really bitter. You know why? Because he can't be saved, obviously. He's fallen. And he's like so bitter about people and they're like, well, we just torment people because we just torment people and we hurt them because we're jealous and we can't be saved and our boss tells us to and our boss is really cruel. He's talking about Satan's their boss. And I'm just like, wow. and and it was like, why is this going on? And it's crazy. And this fallen angel was like just talking to me and it's like, well, anyways, I only got a couple more minutes. And it's like, do you have any questions? And I said, what did I ask it? I said, why were you sent to torment us? Specifically me, right? And he said, because the boss doesn't have much time left. It was something like that. The boss doesn't have much time left. And you know too much, basically, right? You know too much. You're getting too close to the truth. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then it was like a movie. The funniest thing because he's like, I was like it was like a line. It was like what Spider-Man or the superheroes did. And it ended like I said God is like a consuming fire. Yeah. And then it ended with Holy Ghost fire. It was Holy Ghost fire. And then the dude, the fallen angel, just it was like a terrible scream, and it was burn. It was like burning, and it went away, and I was like, finally, it's gone. I couldn't stand that thing. It just the presence of it was so gross, but it was fun. It was funny and cool to talk to because I'm talking to something that's literally from the beginning of time. These things were around before the earth was made. If you didn't know this, the fallen angels used to be good angels, right? They fallen because they used to be exalted. They used to be awesome, you know. And Lucifer was the one who taught the angels before he was evil. And you can find it. It's the book of Melchizedek that I'm talking. This is this true story, and it's really crazy and cool. But these fallen angels used to be good, all right, and Satan used to be good too, like second behind the second in charge, and he was the teacher. He was the light bearer. But what happened was, yo, what's up, Longoria? I'm telling the story. So the good angels, how did they get bad, right? How did Lucifer become Satan? Is a great question, and it's actually answered. There's an actual book, and it's the book of Melchizedek. And who's Melchizedek, you might ask? Melchizedek is the king of righteousness. The king of righteousness. That's so cool. That's what that word means. And the story is about how, it's literally from the beginning, when Yahuwah made the heavens, he made the universe, he made the palaces, the mansions, and Zion, and all that stuff. And then he created his firstborn son, his firstborn angel son, not a man, but I'm talking about an angel, a light being, a creature of light. He made Lucifer, and then he made all these other angels. And then Lucifer was the one teaching them. And what happened was he made a test of what we call fidelity. Yahuwah made a test of fidelity. And the fidelity was very simple. There was an abyss of darkness. Yahuwah was the light, right? He's the light and the source of love. But he told them, hey, if you want to, I'm going to give you free will because I love you. And I want you to have free will, so you're not a slave. You're not a slave. You're free. Go and do as you want. And then so he makes this, there's a dark void over there you can go to. You can go into the darkness if you want to go away from me. You're not forced to be with me. There are people that, and this is true, that this is proof he loves us, because there are people who what? They will close off all exits. They will like force you to be, especially women do this too. Women do this to men, where it's like, oh, if you can't be with me, you can't be with anybody. No, Yahuwah didn't say that. He said, you have free will. Do as you want. I am the source of light, but you can go over there and your light, your life, and it's going to be diminished, but you can go over there. But you know what I'm saying? So they have free will, okay? And Lucifer would teach them all the stuff that Yahuwah wanted to be taught, and he was obedient. But he started looking over at the darkness and wanting to explore it. He was what we call ambitious or curious, right? Curiosity killed the what? The cat. Curiosity killed the cat. And there's something really interesting about cats. I've had this feeling like, because cats have what? They have like snake eyes, right? They have eyes like snakes. They're kind of like snakes. I'm not saying cats are evil, but the design is kind of interesting, right? Anyway, he started going into that darkness and coming back and trying to what? Serve two masters. He was trying to know the secrets of the darkness. He even asked Yahuwah if it was, I would like to know the secrets of darkness, and Yahuwah was like, you don't get it, you shouldn't do that. He's like, don't do that. Why would you do that? But either way, it's like he's not going to stop him because he's not going to stop you from making your own choices. You make your own decisions. You have free will. You're free. But the problem is we make the wrong choices. We get stuck on the wrong things, and then what, we are led astray. And Lucifer became more and more corrupt because he would go into the darkness and away from his creator, his father. And then he would come back and still do what he was doing. But there was a point where he felt, this is where it got dangerous, really dangerous. He felt that his knowledge was better because he liked some of the things in the darkness, whether it's, lust or adultery or maybe he liked to tell some lies. That's probably the biggest one for him, was lies. He liked the concept of, maybe he was like tricking people and yeah, and that's a combination of things, because he wanted to be the king instead. He wanted to Lucifer actually went to the King of Kings, the mighty King Yahuwah, and he wanted to take the throne. He actually asked to take the throne. Yeah, he was. And I'll get to the author of confusion thing. That's really funny that he has that title too, because he created confusion and chaos when he decided to teach his doctrine. It's called what? The knowledge of good and evil. Oh, he taught the knowledge of good and evil. And it's funny that he puts good first, right? He doesn't call it the knowledge of evil and good because it doesn't sound as good. Yes, and that's where we're going. That's where I'm going with this. But it describes this in detail, which is really awesome. It actually puts this in detail as an event in history, because it is an event in history where the angels were taught for the very first time the doctrine of Lucifer, but he was teaching his own thing, right? Because it wasn't of Yahuwah, because he mixed truth with lies. And he told them, he probably said something along the lines of, well, guys, I discovered that you can do this. You can lie, and you can actually, he probably didn't start right away with murder. You know what I mean? Because they would probably immediately reject him. But he was a very good speaker. He was the one who was teaching them. So they trusted him, right? They trusted him. And then he started talking about good and evil, doing good and evil. Do a little bit of this and do a little bit of that. That's not what we should be doing. You can't be a truther and a liar at the same time, because what? A house divided against itself cannot stand. It falls. And it fell indeed. But anyways, the angels were confused and they started fighting each other immediately. They were confused. There was a battle already. This is when it created the war that's still going on today. The same war from the beginning is still going on today between good and evil. Because you can't even really call it, the truth about this is, it's not the knowledge of good and evil. It's the knowledge of just evil, because they already knew what good was, and they were good. It was good until he taught good and evil. He wasn't just going to call it the knowledge of evil, because they would be like, no thanks, I'm good, literally. And then, so we started teaching, yeah, lies, teaching stealing, like, oh, I can just get whatever I want, you know? So he tried to appeal, and a third of the angels followed him, because they would rather listen to him and do what he's teaching, even though it was contrary. And then some of them later on, they repented because they realized, wait a minute, there is no good and evil. This is just evil. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead. So this is going on, and then there's There's the ones who are what I call, they were called infidels, right? Because they did not keep stay with their father. They left their father for, another, another teacher, in a different one who exalted himself. Yeah, exactly. He wanted at first. At first, Lucifer wanted to take, he wanted to take the throne. He asked for it, and then he was rejected, obviously, because you can't. Yahuwah knows the implications of that. It's like, no, this is gonna destroy them all. That's not happening. I don't want anyone to perish. He doesn't want anyone to perish. So he said no, and then he wanted to just, he did it anyway. Lucifer did it anyway, and then Yahuwah actually steps in and he comes off of the throne. He stood up off of the throne and he called them back to repentance. And he also said, you cannot serve two masters. All of you have to make up your mind. Are you going to follow? He's now Satan because he is my adversary. Are you going to follow him, or are you going to follow me? You know, and they had to make up their minds. And he let them know how much he loved them, and how it broke his heart that the separation be eternal. It broke his heart. It broke his heart. It was literally breaking his heart because he knew that the separation would be eternal. So he called them to him as like, please, you don't know what you're doing. Come back, come back, come back to your father. So that got, that got some of them, because it might have been like 40-50% of them may have been following Lucifer. And then they came back and they said, yeah, we were wrong. We're sorry, Father. And then after they all made up their minds, he led them into that darkness and he lit it up. You know how it says in the beginning, it was void and darkness? And then he said, what? Let there be light. And then he lit it up. And they all followed and they watched him create the earth and the heavens. And it goes from there. But it's really awesome to know there is, and we know there is history before the earth was made. And then it also gives meaning to why the earth was made, because there's not a good answer for it in the Bible. You know what I mean? There's not a great answer for why the earth was made. And that was always a pet peeve of mine. I was like, well, why did he make us? What's the point of us? And now I know it's to prove that what love is greater than hate. Truth is greater than lies. That Yahuwah's doctrine is better than Satan's doctrine. You know what I'm saying? And even though Adam and Eve, they chose to go to the tree of knowledge of good and evil, they were what? They were fooled. Some even say that Eve was tricked, but it was like witchcraft. Or some people say, like, because to be honest with you, there are different accounts of Adam and Eve, and there are so many. And who's to say we have all the answers, you know? Because there's so many books that were removed. There's so little about Adam and Eve, and they lived so long. They lived 900 some odd, almost 1,000 years, and we hardly know anything about Adam and Eve. You know, we just kind of blame them. We just kind of blame them for everything. But we shouldn't be blaming them because they got fooled. They were very innocent. They were very innocent. They were so innocent that probably I would say it was taken advantage of because they didn't have wisdom. Is that safe to say? they they were they were very innocent, like children. And then what? Satan fooled them. It's also good to note that the way Adam fell, you know, because he could have said, "Nah, I ain't going for that." You know what I mean? He could have told Eve no, and people don't realize that like Adam made a choice too, and it's funny because he wanted to what he wanted to be with Eve or be like Eve instead of obeying Yahuwah. He decided to eat the apple too, and that is when it sealed their fate. It didn't seal their fate or seal humanity's fate when Eve ate the apple. I want you to know that. That's also very interesting. Is like obviously we can't change history, but if Adam decided not to eat that apple, we would have still the book would have probably been over there because we'd all be fine and still, you know what I mean? Not to anyway. That's not how it happened because he was fooled too. We are well, not anymore, but everyone has to what die. Yes, that's the main yeah. That's the main thing about that is like well yeah. There's no avoiding it. There's no avoiding it. But we have eternity and we have the kingdom to look forward to. I know everyone's about like heaven, they talk about heaven and hell, but are you kingdom minded? Do we pray for the kingdom, for Yahuwah's kingdom to come to the earth and his will to be done on earth and in heaven? Or are we just like so worried about I don't want to go to hell? You know, but worry, it says not to worry. Why should we worry? If you know where you stand, you shouldn't be worried about where you stand. That's also a contradiction in of itself. Yes, the sprinkling of the blood. And like in repentance. Like John the Baptist, he was calling everyone to repent. And that means to what? Change your mind. Change your ways. To stop doing what's killing you. Like it's like telling an addict to stop doing drugs or you're gonna die. Because that's the truth. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Stop killing yourself. That's all he was saying. Stop killing yourself. If you put it that way, it's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, that is killing me. But there's people that what they're trying to go forward, but they keep looking back. Like that meme. You know that meme with the guy in his he's with his girl and then he's looking back at that other girl. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't be like that, bro. That's a contradiction. Yeah, fear is honestly that's the greatest thing. I I conquered fear this year. I conquered fear, and that's the best thing to say I could ever say. I had a big fear of a lot of things. I had a fear of driving. I had a fear of man. I kind of had a fear of demons too. I'm not gonna lie, because I would have these nightmares. I would be like tormented and stuff. But once I recognized the power of Yahuwah, even the power when I was the Jesus freak guy, where I was like I was in Jesus' name, everything was Jesus' name, right? I was casting out demons and I learned how to do it. And it's like it's not even like it's not really something you can learn how to do, but it's like you have to have complete and total faith when you're faced with these things that it just happens. It just happens. he leads you to do these things. It's a gift. He gives the gifts. He gives us so many gifts. And one of my gifts that he gave me was authority. And if you really believe, you can do it too. And that's the thing. It's a gift to know that you can do it, but everyone ought to know, every Christian ought to know they have authority to take authority. Um, because your name is written in heaven. And yeah, Master, the demons, they're submitting to us. They have to obey us. Don't rejoice because of that, but rejoice because your name is written in the kingdom. It's written in the kingdom, your name. You're written in eternity. What are you going to do with that? As a member of the kingdom, you ought to fight for the kingdom. But I don't see anyone fighting for the kingdom with me. Who's going to fight for justice? Who's going to fight for righteousness? Who is willing to stake their and put their life towards the cause? It doesn't mean you have to die for the cause, but will you dedicate your time? Will you dedicate some time of your life to the cause? Like, I thought I was mad. I thought I was crazy. But I was like, I almost felt like the only guy in the world. I know I'm not, but I was willing to like pray for prayed for specific things against Satan that most people would never think to pray. But yeah, I applied that faith and I started praying against the cults that run the world and the systems that are in place. And I started praying and praying and and I actually waged war against kingdoms of darkness, certain ones. Like I knew they existed and I called them and I prayed against them and I called them out. And I had help. Yahuwah sent me help. I had another warrior with me at my side because the word says it when two or more agree is touching. So I had someone to pray with me, agreeing is touching, and we went to war. And it was really gruesome. It was a really gruesome war, but it was a beautiful war because we learned like I could never I could never deny after what I went through that one, there is power. There was power in Yahuwah, and there's power in his name. And two, I cannot ever deny that that I cannot ever deny that there is power that he has given to us to do things. I dare say it because he said it. Greater things will you do. Greater things that's what Jesus said. That's what Yahushua HaMashiach said. You will do greater things. And it's true because you know what? There's something I caught that he showed me was, man, he said that men, you can't work at you shouldn't work at night, you shouldn't work at night. He said something along the lines of that, like, I'm gonna do my work in the daytime. He worked in the daytime. He had yeah, that's what I mean by quantity. And that's exactly what I mean. But not just to quantity, but like he also meant different things. Like things like working at night, working in the nighttime and doing the same works. And you're right about the quantity. I like that you said that quantity because we were mass. I'm serious about this too. Going through a city and like mass praying to Yahuwah to sweep out all of the demons, like all of them at once, everything. And it was like literally happening. It was so crazy. He gave us eyes to see what was happening, like going through this. And we're like, that building over there. Can you remove every evil thing from that building? And he did it, and he did it, and it was like Jesus, but like it was like he was doing he was like everywhere doing it. It was amazing going through a city and like just wiping it out, like just wiping them all out because there's legions everywhere. And just going through that city and he's evacuating, taking all those demons away. And you'll say, "Oh, well, there's no proof." There's no I don't I have a testimony. And there's another person in this earth, in this world that has the same testimony because they were the one, and it was a woman, by the way, a woman casting out all these demons from a city, and a woman that I saw Satan bow down to. So that there is no denying. There is no denying. It's the testimony of two. You know, unfortunately, that person has gone astray, and I pray they come back because they have done marvelous works, marvelous. But even the person that's done marvelous works and shown signs and wonders, like Israel, Israel fell away too. The two witnesses, yeah. I wonder who the two witnesses, will be. That's something. That is something. Um, where I don't know exactly who I am, but I've been given hints. Like I've been given hints. Like you're kind of I'm like a secret agent or secret operative because I go into the spirit, in the ruach, the unseen, and I'm doing things for the kingdom that like my works are not cannot really be seen unless you have eyes to see. Like I'm literally like I go to war and I wage war on certain things, or certain kingdoms, and I'm just led to do it. I can't explain it. I can't explain it. I ask how I'm supposed to pray or what I'm supposed to declare or decree or what I'm supposed to do, and he just leads me to doing that. And things get dealt with in the ruach. Yeah, we Liddy. Yeah, we Liddy. Um, things have to be things have to be dealt with. I believe this, like really I do. Things have to be dealt with in the framework because the framework is behind everything. The ruach of life, the ruach of Yahuwah is in all of his creation. And things have to be dealt with like spiritually first because before the earth even existed, we had angels. Think about that. We had angels. We had beings of light. But there wasn't an earth or heaven. I mean, earth wasn't formed yet. You know what I'm saying? But there was this what we can't see, right? Because Yahuwah is what? Ruach. We can't see it, but he's there. We know he's there because we feel him. We can feel him. So what I'm really saying is there are people right now that are doing great things, and that they don't get any recognition, and I don't need recognition. It's enough to just know that my name's written in heaven, and I'm not gonna boast about like because it's not me. I'm just his weapon. Like I'm a weapon that he swings around, and he'll take me where I need to go, and he'll tell me what to do, and I do it. I'm like, here I am, like Isaiah, here I am. What do you want me to do? And he's showing, and I'm also a witness. You're right about the witnesses thing, because we are witnesses to things that you cannot see with these eyes. We are witnesses to things you cannot see with these physical eyes. Yeah, exactly. I'm not speaking of myself. These things are way above. Like, listen, I don't feel qualified, and I never did. But when that demon showed up and that thing manifested, and that thing was like, "Where is your God?" I said, "Oh, it's on." It was on. we're doing this. I've never done this, but we're doing this. Like David and Goliath. David he had never killed a man. He was a shepherd. He was a shepherd. He was a young boy. He didn't feel prepared, but he knew Yahuwah had his back. And that's exactly how I felt. I was terrified. Deep down, I was scared, but I said, well, I know my Savior, my Redeemer liveth, and he is powerful. And I kind of prayed for this stuff to happen, like not directly, but I said, I want to see your glory in this world. Before I die on this earth, can I please see your glory? Can I have a testimony that's just so amazing that people will call me, they might call me a nut job, or they have to say, yeah, I believe this guy. I know it's true. Can you go through an experience and deny it? I almost did because it was too much for me. And some things I just wanted to forget altogether. Like, have you ever had a dream about like what the torment in hell is like? Because I have. And have you like ever had a dream about like seeing these serpents and these actual like what the spirit like these evil ruachs look like, these evil spirits look like? I had dreams like that because I was being attacked. I waged war and they fought me, but they were overcome. They were overcome by my father. My father would make them, and they would scream and it'd be funny. The funniest thing is they would like scream and it's like they're falling off a cliff type of thing. They're like, "Ah," like something like that. I can't mimic it perfectly, but it was funny because it sounds like they're falling off a cliff, and sometimes you hear like is hilarious. There's a lot of comedy in it. Like it was kind of like I would almost say silly, but it was real. It was so real. I want to tell y'all a secret too. Most most demons are very, very small. Believe me, most demons are very, very small. Like tiny, I mean tiny. But they exalt themselves. But in the world, you ever heard of parasites? I am convinced parasites are demons, and they're very tiny. You can't see them with your eye, with your physical eyes. We had to invent something called a microscope to be able to see them because they're actually that tiny. Most demons are tiny, but what they do to people is terrifying, and I'm not going to deny that. What they do the way they take people over and make people sick, it is scary. I won't deny that. That is scary. That is horrible. The way these people are just ridden with these parasites, and these parasites are like just killing them. You know? Yeah, the helmet of salvation. Yes. That really means like knowing you're saved. Knowing he's got your back, trusting him. That's what I equivalent the helmet of salvation with. It's like, yeah, I know he's got me. I know my life is in his hands. And if I die, I hope it's like Samson, where I take a billion trillion of them out with me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, putting your hope in Yahusha. Yeah. I'm so glad. I'm so glad to be back. I can look back at this stuff and like share it in a positive way now, in a way where yeah, that I did sink a couple times. I'm not gonna lie. I wavered a few times because it was like we were so outnumbered. And yeah, we weren't outmatched. You know what I mean? But we were outnumbered. I mean, like it was like all of hell against us. That's how it felt, bro. We had Yahuwah with us. He was with us. He was sending angels to help us and stuff. But it's how it felt, bro. I felt like I was literally at war with the entirety of hell, and I had hardly, I didn't have any other people like there with me except for this one person. And this one person is like a brand new Christian. And I was like, and I mean, I haven't even been like a true follower for that long because I was a huge hypocrite back in the day. I was a big hypocrite where I tried to justify doing what I was doing, knowing I was doing the wrong thing. Now I've come to a point of, well, you can't be a house divided against yourself. You can't. Like The Rock said in that movie about the movie about when he went to the casino, he told that sheriff, "What? This will not stand. This will not stand because this is a good town, and this casino has corrupted the town." He's like, "This ain't gonna stand." Yeah, Paul was great, yo. I was reading about what Paul did. He was telling these sorcerers like what it was like. Yeah, and that's another thing about this world. How many how many commercials and shows that glorify witchcraft, yo? It's crazy. It's all about this holiday magic. You know, those two words can't even coexist. How can those two words be put right next to each other, bro? That's how we know it's the very end. How could you put holy day next to the word magic, and then the holiday they're referring to is a pagan holiday, by the way. It's a pagan holiday. Yeah, Satan's just look at the word Santa. It's literally yeah. Bro, it's crazy that you say that. I was at war against I was at war against a warlock too. There was a warlock involved. There were like at least two witches in like the war I was in was like insane. I can't even imagine what it looked like from like just in like looking in the actual spirit realm like of what happened because I got glimpses like we get glimpses of stuff but it's not so it's enough to like okay we know this is really happening but if we were shown the whole picture nah son loony bin straight to the loony bin like it would be too much we wouldn't be able to fathom it and probably lose your minds like I did lose kind of after kind of after February. I had gone through it was just so much torment that it was just too much. I'm talking like trying to sleep and when you're trying to fall asleep and your body's like convulsing. It's not and that's not natural, bro. That is not that is not of this earth. To like just randomly have these like it's not a seizure but it's like a seizure like we were trying to sleep and then there's like these like your body's like shaking like moving and that was not I'm telling you that is not a disease or like an actual that's like a completely strange thing to lay down to sleep and then randomly in the middle of the night you're like your body's convulsing. Tell me that's you can't tell me that's anything but a demonic thing. It's not. You can't put a diagnosis on that. You can't. That I was actually in the hospital and they did not know what to make of it. They were like, "What? You're what?" And your body is like involuntarily moving. I'm like, "Yes, dude. Yes, it happens." And they looked at my brain, right? I had them look at my brain because they're like, well, it must be your nervous system. It must be your brain. My brain's fine, bro. It's literally it was literally proof that like that this is spiritual because they cannot put their finger on it. They can't even begin to comprehend it. And I'm talking the VA, like the best hospital, literally the best hospital. in this whole state, and they're just like they can't figure it out. They're like, what's going on with this guy? He's hearing voices. He's hearing voices, and they talk through him, and they're making them like convulsing, and then all the funniest thing is like it all just kind of just went away overnight. It just like I was in a prayer. It was very fervent, and there was a certain preacher I was listening to, and he said exactly the right thing. He said exactly the right thing, and it just all went away, all of it. And I haven't had this same problem in a long time. It hasn't happened since March or April, or I think it was like April or so is when it stopped. And I haven't had these problems in since then. All I know is it happened. And the only thing that makes sense is this is supernatural, because it's not natural. There are things that play that it just can't, you can't see them, but they're at play. Yes, there are angels. Yes, there are angels. Yes, there are fallen angels. Yes, there are demons. Yes, I literally witnessed all of these things, and I can't sit here and just pretend I didn't. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna be like I was back in February, where I'm like, what was the thing I was doing? I was like, Holy Ghost fire, and then I would shake, and it was like, that was weird. And then there was yeah, exactly. That was literally what it was. We were wrestling with these, and it's hard to fight something you can't see, you know? The only times I could actually see them was when I was trying to sleep, and they were like, they were trying to scare me or make me terrified, and like showing me these images of things. And these were things like, it's kind of hilarious. It was stuff like it was stuff like Elmo, but it would be like extremely. It would be like what Elmo really is, like spiritually. Like it'd be like that. It like what? Yeah, I'm talking about Elmo, bro. Nightmares about, how are you having nightmares about Elmo? You're a grown man. How embarrassing. How could you ever talk about that? Because, bro, these were dreams that were like extremely amplified on purpose. These were dreams about things like so specific to me too, because there was one, like, it's like these characters, they're all idols, okay? All these cartoon characters, and these characters on TV, and it's all by Satan. It's all by Satan, all of it. And these are all different. They're all based on something from hell. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. Like, the freaking Elmo characters are like gremlins or something. And then all this stuff is literally inspired by hell. And I'm not joking. All the media, all of it, just about all of it. And I have proof, because I had evil dreams about this stuff. I had evil dreams about this stuff because I had watched it in the past, and then it came back to haunt me. Like it was crazy. Even like my favorite stuff, like Dragon Ball Z, and then they're just and these are all idols and distraction to distract you from who made you, who's your real father. It's all distractions. All of it, bro. It's funny that the cartoons are actually the worst, because the cartoons are like, they're showing you they're literally showing you things it shouldn't be allowed. And I would ask, it's like, how is this allowed? And it's like, Yahoo is like, no, I don't allow, this is illegal. And what he means by illegal, here's what I mean by illegal is, he's what he's saying is, this is illegal, is that Satan was going too far. Does that make sense? Like, he was really pushing as far as he could with just like bringing hell on earth. And I have to tell you this, and I can really say this. I went through hell on earth, and it was illegal. And what I mean by illegal is he had overstepped to the point where it's just too much. Does that make sense? Like, how can I say this? The evil is like it fulfilled, pretty much. It's like fulfilled in the world, like the amount of evil being done to where the wrath is coming. The wrath is coming. The evil has reached that point in the world, and it's very obvious. It's very obvious. Our president's a mafia boss. I mean, come on. The president's a mafia boss. There's a new world order. There's like, come on, dude. And it's not just that, but it's the symbolism. The symbolism is kind of the real working force here behind everything. There are symbols. The symbols are not of, and these symbols are not from Earth. They're inspired by the kingdom of darkness. These mascots. I mean everything, dude. The mascots for the teams, the symbols on Facebook, the symbol for the Facebook thing. It's all occult, all of it. And I'm really speaking the truth here. This whole world is a battleground, and if we don't know who our father is, it's a losing battle. It is. But when you know who your father is and you know your authority in the Messiah, being in the Messiah, then you can turn the tides of the battle, even though you're outnumbered. Even though it's 8 billion to 1, even if it's 8 billion, the whole population against you, you can still win because he overcame the world. How can you overcome the world without advice from someone else who overcame the world? Especially when the world is more hellish than it's ever been. That's my proof. And that's why I believe in the little season thing. Because to me, the little season people, they get it. They're like, there is trouble in the world like it never before. And it's very specifically not, you know, it's not right. When you turn on a TV, how many shows are there now where it's literally about stuff that it glorifies hell, all of it. There's so many like paranormal stuff about the Nephilim, stuff about devils. Like it's all glorifying either witchcraft or demons or something. It's literally so in your face now, you can't deny it. If you actually turn on a TV and look through the channels, it's like how many things are from hell, like all of it. It's yeah. Yeah, it's from that perspective. It's from their perspective, bro. They are not like us. That Kendrick song, they not like us. There's truth to that. They're not like us. They're not like us. We're from above and they're from below, bro. We're of above. Oh yeah, I used to love Naruto. And now I know that Naruto's all witchcraft, bro. Naruto is all witchcraft. I was like, no, I used to love that show. The cartoons, bruh. Yeah, yeah. It's a demon in his belly. It took him over. Exactly, bro. You get it. Yeah, and the Buddhism. My dad's a Buddhist too. There is. Now, let me say something about yoga. Okay, yoga is fundamentally. There's some good stuff in yoga because it's about breath. The breath stuff is good, from what I understand. A lot of the breath stuff is good, but the poses, those poses, nah, don't do those poses, bro. The yoga poses, nah. But breathing, there's actually beauty to breath work because Yahuwah gave us breath. The Most High gave us breath to breathe. And a lot of us, we don't actually take time to appreciate that. So there's beauty in that, to just appreciating that He gave us the breath to breathe. He gave us the air in our lungs to calm us down. He said, "Peace I give to you, not like the world gives." Because that breath, that air, we can't see it. It's a gift that he keeps on giving. That's the breath of life. But the problem with yoga is there's something called the Vedas. It's called the Vedas, and that's really crazy. It's paganism though. It's really just paganism. It's all the same. These holidays coming up too. These holidays, Thanksgiving. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying about yoga. It is Hinduism. It's fundamentally Hindu. The only good stuff about yoga is like it's good to stretch. It's good to stretch and stuff like that and release the tension in your body. But they do these poses that are literally demon worship. And that's true. What my dad does is he tries to take the good out of just the good stuff from it. And it's fine. He does what he does. I'm not gonna knock him. 'Cause he does help people like that have problems with their body and their mind. Your body is a temple. And you ought to dedicate it to the one who made it, who built that temple. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So religion, right? Christianity. The focus in the church has been completely corrupted. The churches have been filled with false prophets. Their churches are full of false prophets. And even people like me who are like, I forsake the world and everything in it. Like literally, I did. And I still got led astray. Because that's how hard it is to be on in the right path. You could just, it could just be like, it could be a small thing, but there's just stumbling blocks everywhere. Even when you forsake the world and you really commit to living righteously, it's like it's so hard to be a true prophet. And when people call me a false prophet, I almost feel like, yeah, I was, because I had the right intentions, but I would preach things like, you know, I would preach things that I wish I didn't say back in the day. Like I didn't even know his true name. It was Jesus, Jesus all the time. His true name is Yahushua HaMashiach, and I can't deny that because the letter J, bro, the letter J didn't exist. And then they tried to whitewash him. They tried to whitewash our Savior and make him a European, a white guy. When it says in the Word, it says he had bronze feet, bro. And I'm a white dude telling you this. It should tell you something, bro. It should tell you something. I did my research, and it's like there's no denying what my dad said about the Council of Nicaea is true. The letter J that spells that name Jesus didn't exist. And then he appeared to us because we were Catholic. We were Catholics, and we were obsessed with our Catholic exorcism stuff. But it was killing us. It was straight up killing us. We thought we were fighting demons. It was not. It was actually inviting them. It was inviting them. Those Gregorian chants and those Latin stuff. Latin's evil. Latin is actually the opposite of Hebrew. And Hebrew is the Paleo Hebrew is the holy language that Moses spoke. That when Yahuwah spoke to them, it was in Paleo Hebrew. And the Bible, majority of the Bible was in Paleo Hebrew. It was written in Hebrew. Languages, listen, what I mean by evil is Latin. Latin is the opposite of Hebrew, bro. Latin did not exist. I'm telling you the truth. Latin did not exist back then. It is the opposite of Hebrew. It is literally reversed. Languages can be used for good, but look, languages can be used for good, but not all languages are of Yahuwah. You know what I mean? There is a language or two, at least, because look at English. English and Latin are extremely sus, bro. I'm not gonna ever deny that. English and Latin are very sus, and they're very recent. They're very recent languages. Greek, Greek is fine. I give Greek a pass. Greek is cool. I don't appreciate paganism, but Greek is fine. But Latin and English, look into it. I'm telling you the truth, bro. Latin and English, watch out. I would not be speaking in Latin after what I went through. I have to speak English because it's the only language I know. But I know English is straight sus because there's words, for example, the word grammar. The word grammar is grimoire. That's where that came from. Yeah, and if you know what grimoire is, then yeah. And there's what else? There's a lot of things wrong with English, man. There's a lot of things wrong. Dude, there's a lot of things wrong with English. English is like the witchcraft language, bro. It really is. It really is. I honestly, some days I wish I didn't speak English and I could speak Hebrew, because Hebrew is beautiful. I know I'm supposed to be here and speak English and everything. It's just like, but the word, man, the words in Hebrew are so beautiful. Yahusha HaMashiach. That's his name. You can't change a name, bro. No, you can't change a name, man. But nobody gets that, and I get it. It's if you don't understand that, it's fine. But your name doesn't change based on a language. Your name is the name you were given, bro. And your name is the name you were born with. Your name is not just a word. See, a word can be translated, but a name, no. Not a name. Really. It's Juan. But what was he named at birth? Think about that. What was the name you were given at birth? That's your name, bro. That's your name. Unless Yahuwah changes your name. But like, I'm telling you, bro, a language doesn't dictate what the name I was given at birth. Yeah, Maria, Mary, I get it. But like, how do I put this? My name, my government, or my name given by my mom is Dylan. And that's the way it is. It's Dylan. Maybe you'll say it different, Dylan, or something like that. But that's what the name is. You can't change the name based on the language. What if I told you his name was Levi? Matthew's name was actually Levi. His name was Levi, brother. But I'm not here to argue. What I'm saying is the beautiful names they were given at birth have been changed. And so is and so is the name of our Savior, bro. That's not if you all right, let me put it like this. If you were looking for Jesus at that time, they wouldn't have known what you were talking about, because that was not his name. maybe that would help you. I don't know how else to put it, but like if his name that he was given at birth, and I know, and it's Yahusha HaMashiach, it's Yahusha. Some say Yeshua, but Yeshua was the name of that was actually Joshua. But Joshua, Yeshua is close though to Yahusha. It's close. So I give people, I at least like that it's Hebrew. Dude, yeah, but you're pronouncing some, how do I put this? You're pronouncing a different name than he was given at birth. That name was invented, bro. It was invented. I don't know how else to put it, other than that name did not exist and it was invented. And it replaced, yes, it was. The letter J was not a letter. There was no letter J. There was no Latin or English yet, I'm pretty sure. English was a new thing. English was a new language that was like made up. You ever considered that there's languages that were like just made up? That were made up for a people or for whatever reason. I don't know the reason why. But the letter J was not a letter until around the 1600s, bro. So how could you have a Jesus before that? You can't. He had because his name was not Jesus. And he wasn't white. I know there's different languages and tongues, but how could that change somebody's name that was given to them? You know? And then also, I need you to know this. That name is not just a translation, it's like a transliteration, and it's from one language to another language to another language. It was made up, dude. But that's the name we all know because we've all been brainwashed. Everyone was brainwashed. Okay. But the thing about names is like, if somebody was trying to call me anything else, I wouldn't answer to it. Because unless it's D-Stag or Dylan, I'm probably not answering it to it. Names are like, names are very important and special because a name kind of invokes something. A name is like it invokes him when you say his name, and he'll say, and the Bible puts so much emphasis on his holy name. And I really suggest you look into the Council of Nicaea, bro, and what the Council of Nicaea thing is. Yeah, it has power, but it's because you know who you're referring to, and he knows you're referring to him. Yes, that name has power because you're focused on the right thing. But what I'm saying is that name is not really his name, okay? That's not the name that he had when he was walking around the earth. Definitely not. It's literally, there's no way. Because that the letter J was not that language is not a language at that time. It didn't exist. If you were back then with him, and he's, when he was doing his miracles and everything, and you wanted to see Jesus, they wouldn't know what you were talking about. That's all I'm saying, bro. I'm not saying it doesn't invalidate that there's power. Yes, because I didn't know his name at the time. And I saw miracles being done in that name. Because it's because we know who our Redeemer is. We know who our Redeemer is. But it's true, bro. His real, who he was at the time is Yahushua HaMashiach, which means, and that's a beautiful name too. It means Yahuwah saves. He saves us. He's saving us, and he sent his Messiah. Jose, Joseph. But like I said, the letter J, so it's really Yosef. It's really like Jose or Jose or Yosef. You should look into the letter J. It's a hook, bro. It's a hook to catch fish. To catch, it's like a snare, bro. The letter J. Look at what does it look like? It's a hook, bro. It's a hook to catch you. Pablo. I actually like Pablo better. Pablo is cool. I like that name. That's a really cool name, Pablo. Pablo sounds way cooler than Ball. I'm not gonna lie. And David is David in Spanish, right? David is how you say it. Yeah, I know it's the same. It's the same thing, but let's say you don't know. Let's say you didn't know any other language, right? And it's your people, Hebrew people, right? The Hebrew people were the chosen people, and they probably didn't know any other languages. Probably some of them probably were translators, but they spoke Hebrew. Then that's the chosen people. Anyway, I got nothing else to say. Uh, look into the Council of Nicaea. Stay up. Focus on your mission, your goals. I ain't got any more wisdom to share because I am tired. Um, but yeah, that was a lot of testimonies right there that I gave. You're free to believe whatever you want to believe. But I was shell shocked too. I was so in denial about it that yeah, it might take months and years for people to wake up, and there might be just people who never accept that the Council of Nicaea thing happened with God is the title, by the way. God is just a title. If you go to people that's like they believe in multiple gods. So they wouldn't know what God you're talking about. But I can just tell them Yahuwah. Yahuwah is his name. He gave me the breath. He gives me the breath so I can breathe. He created the heavens and the earth. He created everything. And Yahuwah did it. And then I'm like, well, I know him person, and now I know him personally. He's not just my boss. It's God. God is mighty one. Yes, he's mighty. But then these people they believe in their other gods. They think these other gods are something mighty, and they're not mighty compared to the Creator. And Lord is also a title. A Lord is someone who owns land, or you know what I mean. So it's nice to be on that, just to have that personal relationship with, and he has a name. His holy name is Yahuwah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yahuwah. I don't know what Yahuwah translates to. I don't know if it can translate it. You know what I mean? But I'm glad you have a different perspective, because otherwise this would just be like an echo chamber. So thank you, Longoria. I like that you have a different perspective, and I respect that. But imagine a person who doesn't know other languages, when you're trying to call them by a different name in a language they don't know, they probably don't know what you're talking about. So there's that. But Yahuwah is all knowing. Yeah, that's a good conversation. Thank you, bro. Take care.